Good morning, Lakeside family. Sorry that I can't be with you guys this morning. We received sudden and unexpected news that my grandmother had taken ill, and we needed to come and say our goodbyes and support family through this difficult time. We look forward to rejoining you guys later this next week. But before we get into my report, which is the whole reason of this video, I would just ask that you pray for our family in this emotional time. Obviously, we are grateful for your grace and your love in the difficulties. So let's get back to the annual reports, because I am so excited to share this message with you guys. If you are holding on to the packet that your leadership team handed out, you will have a copy of this in the back, and I'm just going to read it to you guys. But I think it's important to stand up in front of you guys and read these things, because then you can hear really the importance and the inflection that is necessary, the emphasis. So here we go. The yearly practice of holding an annual church meeting is one of the great important tasks that we get to do as Nazarenes. Not because it's a formal tradition and not because it's something we are obligated to do, but because it gives us a chance to pause for a Sunday amidst the chaos and rapid pace of life to recognize what God has been doing among us. It also keeps everyone from pastor to parishioner in the loop and aligned. A healthy church doesn't just move, it moves together. And moments like this help make sure we are growing in the same direction. So it's my honor this morning to walk us through 4 specific points: where we've been, where we are, where the Lord is leading us next, and of course, how we're going to get there. And this past year has been a year of foundation building. When my family and I arrived in late June last year, we stepped into a church that had experienced a lot. You had a faithful pastor here for over a decade, then a long season without a lead pastor. Thank you, Pastor Chris, for stepping in and filling the pulpit. You did a wonderful job. But this is a huge thing. Whether you know it or not, that says a lot about the character, faith, and fortitude of this body. For us, this year has been about learning the culture of the church, and the culture of this community. Each of those are both special and unique. Honestly, we're still learning week in and week out. But even in the learning year, God has shown himself faithful time and time again. You don't have to look far to see it. Just look at the way he has moved in our finances. Through your generosity, God has provided in ways that allowed us to refresh the foyer and fully renovate the nursery. It's not just about appearances, though. It's about preparation. Because we're only good stewards of what God has given us when we use it in a way that honors him first. When we invested in those spaces, we did it with expectation. Expectation that God, who has been faithful, will continue to bring new people through these doors. People who are searching. People who need hope. People who need Jesus. Beyond all of that, I think it's fair to say something has shifted in the church. I don't know about you, but I can feel it. There is a fresh sense of life in this space. Attendance is up, participation is growing. Sunday mornings are full of joy, vibrance, laughter, and love. I'm reminded of a passage in the book of Lamentations, chapter 3, verses 22 and 23, where it says, "Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness." In other words, the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases, and his mercies are new every single morning. That passage wasn't written in a season of comfort. It was written in the middle of difficulty, and yet it points to a God who remains faithful, even when we struggle to do the same. That's what we've seen this year. Quiet faithfulness, real movement, and God doing what only he can do. Right now, as we close the door on the last church year and step into a new one, the Lord has positioned us in a really good place. We have new families and visitors coming regularly. People aren't just attending, they're engaging. Wednesday night Bible study is growing people in their faith, and the Wednesday morning study is still going strong. People are asking questions, digging deeper, and growing in their relationship with Jesus. And that is something that is absolutely worth celebrating. There's an energy and a momentum here. You can feel it when you walk in the room. But as we're all very well aware, there's always room to grow. We have strong relationships, but we don't always have strong fellowship across the entire church. In other words, we've got some great circles, groups of people who are connected, who care for one another, who do life together. And that's a great thing. But those circles aren't always connected to one another. It's kind of like chain links. One link by itself is strong, but it doesn't accomplish much on its own. But when those links are connected, they form something that is strong, unified, and able to stand up under pressure. That's what we're aiming for. Not just strong individuals or small groups, but a church that is fully connected and moving together as one body. That leads us to another reality we should be aware of. The church has real practical needs right now. It's easy to attend church, but it's an entirely different heart posture to be the church. We need people serving in worship, not just talented, but willing. We need help in all areas of of children's ministry, pouring into the next generation in ways that actually shape their faith. We're currently working to build a security team because sadly, we live in a world where being prepared is just wise stewardship. The bottom line is that there are plenty of places across the various ministries throughout the church, or even in ministries that are not yet completely formed, that require people to step in and say, I want to be part of that. The church is strongest when each person finds their place and steps into it. And I believe in my heart of hearts, there's more in this room than we're currently tapping into. Gifts, abilities, and a willingness to serve that, when stepped into, can change everything. And this leads us to where we are headed, where I firmly believe the Lord is calling us to. To sum it up in one word, it would be the word more. To clarify, this doesn't mean more programs or more busyness. I mean more of what actually matters. Because the truth is, for far too long, the global Christian church has gotten comfortable trying to bring people into the building. But we were never called to build a country club. We were called to point people to Jesus. That means we are called to be facilitators of transformation. And transformation starts with what? Relationship. I think about when Jesus called the tax collector, Matthew, in chapter 9 of his gospel. Jesus didn't start with a moving sermon. He sat at a table and built a relationship. It was in that space that lives began to change. This was clear evidence that real transformation starts across the table, not necessarily from the pulpit. So where is God leading us in this next church year? Toward intentional relational ministry. If you desire to see the kingdom and the church continue to grow, discipleship has to be central, not optional, and not something that we eventually get to if we have time. In 2 Timothy 2:2, it tells us that we ought to take what we have learned and entrust it to others who will teach others also. That's spiritual multiplication. That's how the church grows beyond attendance and into transformation. Additionally, outreach is going to become part of who we are. Not just events, but a lifestyle. Jesus said in Matthew 28 to go and make disciples. He didn't say sit by the roadside in a fancy building and wait for people to come. He said go. So we're going to. We're going to have a presence in our community by showing up at all events, serving and meeting the needs of the community. And this will help us build relationships with those who are deeply and desperately seeking to fill the hole in their heart. And we're going to meet people where they are. Down the road, I believe God is leading us towards something even bigger. Moments of focused renewal, revival, and renewed passion for the gospel. But all of this requires something from us: prioritization. Jesus said in Matthew 6:33 to seek first the kingdom of God, not second, not when it's convenient, first. And when that happens, everything else begins to fall into place. So how are we going to get there? I'm going to keep it simple for you. Pray, participate, and pursue. Prayer connects us to the heart and will of God. Participation makes us part of what He's doing. And pursuit grows us into who He is calling us to be. Those three things are not just good ideas. They are the foundation for everything that we're stepping into next. But this is more than a mindset. It requires movement. First, we're going to prioritize discipleship. We will be launching a 16-week discipleship course for those who feel called and led to invest in others spiritually. This will be divided into two 8-week sections and will require commitment, not casual participation. This is something that must be intentional because discipleship is how the church truly grows. It's how Jesus built His ministry, and it's how the early church multiplied. Our goal is to raise up disciples who make disciples who then go and do the same. This creates spiritual multiplication. It builds leaders, it deepens relationships, and it strengthens the sense of community within the church. If we get this right, we're not just adding people, we are building people for the kingdom. Second, we're going to become more visible and active in our community. We're not going to sit back and hope people find us. We're going to take Jesus to them. That means showing up at borough and county events, participating in things like the Potato Fest, having a presence in parades, and being visible at major community gatherings. Not for recognition, but for relationship. We want to be known as a church that shows up, serves, and genuinely cares. Because the truth is, if we remain out of sight, we risk becoming out of mind. And that is not where we are called to be. Third, we're going to create opportunities for connection. Not just traditional services, but intentional events that allow people to step into relationship in a natural way. Things like an Easter extravaganza, a Holy One Harvest Festival, a First Responders Appreciation Barbecue, or even a bi-weekly Parents' Night Out. These aren't just events for the sake of activity. They are doorways and opportunities for people to experience the love of Christ in a real and tangible way, just like you and I have. Before people receive truth, though, they need to experience His love. Fourth, we're going to reach people in the moments where they need it most. Over this past year, it has become clear that outside of Sunday mornings and Wednesday gatherings, there are not many spaces for people who are struggling, searching, or trying to stay on the right path. Especially on Fridays and Saturday nights, when many are faced with decisions and temptations without support. So, we're going to begin exploring what it looks like to offer a more unconventional, relaxed service during those days. A place with no pressure, no expectations, just an opportunity for transformation and restoration through the Word of God. There are people who will never walk into a Sunday morning service, but they might walk into something like this, where there's no expectations. And it can be the difference maker for them. Along with this, we also need to step into the digital space more intentionally. Social media is no longer optional. For many, especially the younger generations, it's the first place they encounter anything related to faith. We need individuals who are willing to help us build a presence there, sharing what God is doing and pointing people toward Christ. This is a mission field, and we cannot afford to ignore it. And as we step into all of this, we also need to recognize an important element of ministry. These efforts will require not only time, talent, and energy, but also financial investment. As you heard Miss Sandy Beecher speak earlier, the finances have been amazing, and you have been faithful, and I thank you for that. There are already needs on our doorstep, right in front of us. Things like siding work on the parsonage, repairs and repainting in the classrooms from leaks that stemmed from the leaky roof that's already been repaired, lighting upgrades, and investing in proper streaming equipment so we can effectively reach people beyond these four walls. On top of these items, stepping into new ministry opportunities will require additional resources. So this becomes a matter of prayerful personal obedience. Each of us needs to go before the Lord and ask what sacrificial giving looks like in our own lives. Not out of pressure, not out of obligation, but out of a desire to be faithful stewards of what God has entrusted to us. When God moves in a church, he often does so through the willingness of his people to trust him, not just with their time, but with their resources as well. So yes, we will pray. Yes, we will participate. Yes, we will pursue. But we're also going to take real, intentional steps forward. We're going to disciple. We're going to show up. We're going to create space. We're going to reach the lost. And we're going to trust God in every single step along the way. I believe without a doubt, if we commit to these things and these processes together, we will see God move in ways we have not yet experienced. The next church year is chock full of opportunity. And I look forward to stepping into those opportunities together with you as we seek to honor and glorify our King. Respectfully submitted, Pastor Charles M. Hansen. At this point, I will say, I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Go tell somebody about Jesus. Better yet, go show them. Back to you, Candy.